once again, Lil Blood TV, back with another Lil Blood TV exclusive. This time, and every other time, is powered by Tucker Media, of course. But I got something new and improved for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Good special guest. This brother go by the name of Max Mason. He from Eastside Mateo. You know what I'm saying? That's Eastside San Mateo, to be a little bit more specific. But so what I did was I hooked up with NorCal Next Up.
Yo, shout out NorCal.
Shout out NorCal. And you know, I told him I'm trying to give a platform to motherfuckers who've been working and putting in work. You know, I want to interview some up and comers or whoever you think next up. And so we did a joint venture post. And like, man, who y'all fucking with? Let us know what's going on. And by popular demand, a lot of people was tagging this brother. And
shout out to them.
Shout out to them. And I reached out to a few people. They was like, yeah, fuck with him, fuck with him. So here we are. Max Mason, how you doing, King?
I'm good, man. Good, you know, just another day, you know what I mean? So
yes, sir. You made it to Lil Blood TV, so you must be doing something, right?
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here, you know?
Yes, sir. So San Mateo.
Yeah, Shortview to be exact. We on the east side of the freeway.
Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, we just a little quiet little city over there, you know what I mean? We got a little something going on, but you know, it's a little tight-knit community, you know what I mean? So, you know, I bounced around a lot as a kid, but you know what I mean, that's what my roots is for sure.
Right. Growing up, what were some of the struggles you dealt with?
Well, I mean, shit, man. You know what I mean? My mom was on drugs and shit, so my pops was old school. He wasn't really having the shit, you know what I mean? Like a kid, like, you know, before 10 years old, I was like heavy into baseball and shit. And,
right, okay.
And then middle school came around and, man, I fell in love with just fucking doing wrong, man.
Right, like we all.
Yeah, you know, so I bumped my head a couple times. Did juvie for a while, you know what I mean? I did a couple little things, and then 16 to 18, I was in juvenile hall. I got out on my 18th birthday. So, yeah, man, just, you know, a lot of couch crashing, a lot of here, there, everywhere, you know what I mean? Anywhere at that point, you know what I mean? So, you know, but I'm here, you know what I mean? So,
when did you discover that you had a talent for music?
Man, you know, I ain't gonna lie, man, like at our school, like we did battle rapping, man. Like that was like the start of it all, man. I had this homeboy named Todd, and he would just be freestyling all the time. And like my teacher, Miss Morris, she put me on to Langston Hughes, and like you know what I mean. And I kind of discovered the fact, just like kind of reading it, that I had a little talent for, you know, rhyming and shit. So then I started doing little rap battles and shit. I mean, we would have 200 kids in a circle, you know what I mean? Like on some New York type shit. This is when like the, you know, the battling was going on, Murder Mook and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Out there in like Harlem and shit. And I used to just watch that shit and, you know what I mean, kind of just, you know, fell in love with the whole atmosphere of it all.
Right. So who would you say was some of your musical influences?
Man, you know, growing up in my neighborhood, man, you know, we used to be on Rogel Court, and my big homie Juice, and you know, his brother Meesey, and my big homie Rich Rowland. Like, I remember they'd be out there, you know, just rapping and shit. We'd be out there late night sipping, you know what I mean? And man, like just hearing them was like, you know, big, of course, you know, Pac and shit like that too, you know what I mean? But for surely, like on some hometown shit, I definitely, like, you know, got to grow up under those cats, you know what I mean? R.I.P. Juice Boy, but you know, sitting there listening to them and shit definitely, you know what I mean, kind of inspired me to, you know, do a little bit more, you feel me? And I wish I would have took it a little more serious back then, you know what I mean? Instead of, you know, getting in trouble and shit, but for surely they definitely paved the way, you know what I mean? And
what What song was it that you think got people like to start paying attention to you or noticing you?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I did a Skrilla remix.
That Kodak Black Skrilla?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I went on that, and that kind of I was in jail when it kind of like popped off, and then when I got out, I did a song with Lil Slug called "We Don't Do Broke Shit,"
Uh,
and that shit ran up. That was on Pro Exclusive. Shout out to Young Kez. He he shot the video, man, and it was like 10K in like 2 days, and then
nice, nice.
I ended up going back to jail and shit. And then while I was in there, everybody was like, "Hey, man, this shit going crazy right now. This shit going crazy." And I actually got locked up leaving a video shoot. I did a remix to The Race by TK,
Uh-huh.
and
Got your ass caught.
yeah,
You
man,
trying to do the race? You got your
yeah,
dumb ass caught.
yeah. I was in the town leaving my cousin Bo's house in the Dove,
Uh,
and just riding around with stupid shit on me. You know what I mean?
Right,
And
right.
got my ass sent to Rita, and then man, they told me I was going back to my county to do a probation violation, and I did the dress out. You know what I mean? I'm sitting in dress out for like 9 hours.
Jesus.
I get out, and I'm walking down the hall thinking like, you know what I mean? The sheriff's gonna be there, and it was the ATF. So you know what I mean? So it definitely took a little turn, and my little thought I was gonna get like 6 months. You know what I mean? On first gun case. You know what I mean?
Right.
And shit ended up being years, man. So
Why did the feds pick up your first gun case?
they were doing a ceasefire in Oakland at the time. So like the DA was shopping like all the gun cases to the feds and shit. And like the time before that, I had went down on prescription fraud, and the DEA had grabbed me, but they didn't choose to prosecute federally. So like I ended up taking 32 months for the state of California, and then when I got out, I guess I was just kind of on the radar, and
Right.
I had guns and drugs, so like you know what I mean. They just perfect little combo, you know what I mean. So,
Right.
but yeah, that took a turn for the worse, you know what I mean. So,
How did that affect you?
man, it like in terms of music, you know what I mean. It slowed me down for sure because I was just like kind of sort of getting some momentum and shit, you know what I mean. So, I mean, it definitely slowed me down, but I ain't even gonna lie, man. Like you know what I mean, doing the Fed bit and shit, it was more of a blessing than a curse. I mean, I lost a lot of close homeboys to me while I was down and shit, and you know what I mean, lost a lot of time that I'll never get back with certain people and shit. But it definitely taught me, move smarter and you know what I mean, stay away from the bullshit and you know, kind of got to soak up a lot of game. You know what I mean? So, I wouldn't even say it affected me as much negative as it did positive. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
put me in a state of mind I needed to be in. You know what I mean? So,
Right. I tell people all the time, jail helped me more than it hurt me.
yeah, yeah.
And I say that because the things I learned in jail, I would have never learned in the school.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
And I'm talking from education to history to religions to everything under the sun.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
game I got being incarcerated, I wouldn't have never got that from school.
yeah,
So to me, it was a blessing. I was the person who did the time and not letting the time do me.
yeah,
You
for
get what I'm
sure.
saying? So that definitely helped.
Yeah, I had my own little spiritual education too, man. I was in the shoe for 7 months when I was on the Fed yard, and it's gonna sound crazy, but like I had a dream, man.
Uh-huh.
And like I don't want to sit here and say it was like God talking to me or anything like that, but I had a dream, and I don't know who it was, but like I just remember like hearing a voice over and over saying, you know what I mean, don't worry, your time's almost up. You know what I mean? And it couldn't have been more true. You know what I mean? I got out of the shoe after 7 months, and I got back to the yard, man, because like this is when COVID was happening. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I still had 2 years and some change on my bid left, and I applied for compassionate release because I got a lung disorder. And this is when they were letting people go for COVID and shit. They were telling me like people were getting out for asthma and shit.
What the?
And so I applied for it, and I just told myself, I was like, man, it's gonna be it for me right here. This gonna be it. And I go around the unit and the yard and shit like that, and I'll be like, man, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? I'm leaving. Like, you know what I mean? I had this dream. and everybody thought I was crazy, man. Everybody thought I was real life crazy, and I checked my email on New Year's Eve, 2020, the last day of 2020, and I had 3 emails, one from my sister, and then 2 from my lawyers, and they said my motion got approved. And 15 minutes later, you know what I mean, the CO's walking in, and you know what I mean, saying, Mason, roll your shit up, you know what I mean, and roll my shit up. I went to quarantine for like 7 days, man. Got on a bus, got on Greyhound, and you know what's crazy is that they got inmates that drive you to the bus station like that are at the camp. You know what I
Really?
mean? Yeah, it's like when you're in camp in the feds, they get hella privileges and shit. I was on a medium yard, and dude was talking to me, and he was like, you know, you got. I told him the whole story, you know what I mean, and he was like, man, you got a blessing, like you know, just know as soon as you walk out this van door, you know, as soon as this van door pops, you know what I mean, like the devil's gonna be waiting for you. And I was in downtown Fresno,
Uh-huh.
and sure enough, you know what I mean, those motherfuckers there. What's up? You need weed, you need crystal, you need this, you need that, and man, you know, he couldn't have been more right. But I hopped on the Greyhound and I rode into Sacramento. I got to Sacramento at like 1 in the morning. Called my mom and shit. And I was like, man, I'm home. You know what I mean? And she started crying and sent my sister. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we went to like Taco Bell or some shit like that. But
Right. Question.
yeah,
Um, being that you are a Caucasian descent,
uh
um, is it hard with the rap? Like, is there struggles with it? Do people not take you serious, or like, what's some of the adversities you deal with?
I mean, for sure, like the people that don't know me and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like it definitely, you know what I mean, at first glance, you know what I mean? Like it's a blessing and a curse too, you know what I mean? It's you know what I mean? Like a lot of white rappers got a gimmick and shit like that,
Hmm.
and they ride that out, you know what I mean? But I just pride myself on keeping it real, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
moving how I move, you know what I mean? I ain't too game goofy, you know what I mean? And you know, like I said, you know, I got family all over the town and shit, so you know, it's a lot of word of mouth like that comes to the people that do end up supporting me and being a part of my fan base and shit like that. And you know what I mean? Like motherfuckers can Google me and shit, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the proof is in the pudding, you know what I mean? So I don't really even take like all the hate that I get that
Right, right,
serious.
right,
But
right.
it definitely has its ups and its downs. I say once you get over the downs, you know what I mean, it only turns into an up for real.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? So you know, I definitely would say for sure it's some obstacles in the way for any other white rapper that's coming up and shit, listening to this shit. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely, you know, you can't sit here and aim for being like a Slim Jesus or something like that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But
Question.
yeah,
Um, and don't answer this question because you think it's the right thing to say.
uh,
I need you to answer it deeply, and I need you to pull it out your heart.
yeah.
Um, how do you feel about racism?
I mean, I think like you know, I think for real, I mean, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? I think you know, there's prejudice everywhere you go. You know what I mean? I think that like our media kind of over glorifies it a little too much.
I
But
agree.
you know, because when you really get into the community and shit like that, like shit really ain't like coming from someone that's not like a law enforcement officer or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have a problem moving through San Francisco or moving through Oakland and shit like that. And you know what I mean? I know it's prevalent. You know what I mean? And I've definitely even being a white person in you know uh like a minority community, you know what I mean? Like I've experienced it myself, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it ain't like it doesn't affect it, you know, me or it doesn't affect other people, you know what I mean? I
Right.
think that, you know, it definitely it definitely is more prevalent with like, you know, people of color and shit, but I mean it's definitely, you know, it's there. It's just something to deal with, you know what I mean? And it's like as somebody that's like out in the community and shit, you just gotta educate yourself and just, you know what I mean, move correctly and I like try to show love as much places I can go, you know what I mean? Because that's really at the end of the day, that's what I'm asking for in music, you know what I mean? I'm not asking for opinions, I'm asking for support and love and shit like that. So it's like, you know, I mean,
Your music. what would you categorize your music as? Um, Real, soulful? Are you a lyricist? Hyphy? Like, how would you describe your music?
Back in the day, I used to be like a big like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole fan. Like I said, like Pac was definitely like one of my, you know, influences, shit like that. But like as I got older and my lifestyle kind of changed from like struggling to doing good. I mean, now I'll just be shit talking for real. I just get on there and just talk shit. You know what I mean? So I do a lot of road running shit. You know what I mean? Like hustling always been part of my life. You know what I mean? So I just kind of try to make shit I can relate to, you know what I mean, and shit that's going on. I definitely think when I was younger, like, my shit talking was a little bit more prevalent and really like a little bit better for real. I ain't gonna lie. I think I was harder back in the day because I just involved myself in so much shit that I don't involve myself in nowadays, you know what I mean? Being on federal probation and shit like that, it's a lot that I can't do. And now that I know, like, how high the stakes are, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely try to shy away from certain things. So, shit talking for real is just, you know what I mean, kind of just easy for me. So I just get up on there and just talk shit.
In the Bay, who you listening to right now? Who you fucking with?
Like I said, you know what I mean. I still fuck with Cutthroat Mode Click. You know what I mean. My brother Nam's in Motion.
Hmm.
Solid Baby. You know what I mean. There's some San Hope cats I fuck with. Stone Deuce. Dada. Uh, Young Scoop. Shit like that. You know what I mean. So I kind of really like. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I don't really listen to too much Bay Area shit besides like the people I know, you know what I mean? Because like if I'm in the studio with you and shit like that, like I definitely, grew up off like Draco the Ruler and Ralphie the Plug and shit. And I was probably like doing a song with Draco was probably like my highlight, you know what I mean?
Oh,
My
you
music
got a
career.
song with Draco?
Yeah.
Oh, that's raw. Did y'all get to shoot the video?
Yeah, we shot a video
Oh,
and
that's raw.
everything.
That's raw. That's
Yeah,
raw.
shout out to
Salute.
Offset Jim. He's the one that kind of lined it up for me and shit and put me in position to make the play and
Shout out
shit. So
Offset. I just had him up here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
shout out Offset.
Yeah, yeah. So he, you know what I mean. He definitely put me in the right direction, and you know what I mean. Got nothing but love for him. You know what I mean. So my cousin, I was saying that I was leaving his house when I caught the Fed case. They used to stay right across the street from each other and shit. So
Okay.
you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean that was for surely. That was like that's I got out of the Feds, and you know what I mean. Of course, I paid for the feature and shit. I didn't know him personally at the time. You know what I mean, but it was actually my homeboys that kind of put together. That was like, who you want to do a feature with? Like, who's the first person you want to do a song with when you come home? And my boy Ace threw like 8,000 on it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like,
Shout out. You got
so
good people in your corner.
yeah,
I
hell
salute.
yeah,
That mean they believe in you, bro.
yeah,
You
nah,
doing
for
something that
sure.
make a motherfucker believe in you to even, drop that type of money on
Yeah,
some
hell
real
yeah.
shit. Def, what was some of the mania shit you seen while incarcerated?
Uh, man, I mean, shit. You know what I mean? Like people getting packed out for shows. Like one thing. I mean, like, motherfuckers getting sliced with like tomahawks and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like that shit is many, but like, you know what I mean? Like when you out in the streets and shit, I was homeless like my whole like childhood. You feel me? So like, you know what I mean? I definitely seen like, my fair share of shit
Mm-hmm.
more on the streets. I mean, like once you get like desensitized to it, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like, all right, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. You know what I mean? So it's like, we here. It's what's going down. Shit needs to be done. So it's like, you're gonna lace your boots up. You're gonna, you know what I mean, hide in your cell or some shit. You know what I mean? And, being me. You feel me? It's like, I was just like, fuck it, we on.
Have you ever been suicidal?
Uh, I mean, probably when I was like a kid. You know what I mean? For sure. Like I used to go through like depression a lot, like as a kid, for sure. Just feeling like, you know what I mean, like being young, like sleeping in cars or sleeping in parks and shit like that. It like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Sometimes I walk around like, damn, I hope I go down right now. Like, you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
motherfucker like goes to jail, you know what I mean? I get a
Yeah.
bed and 3 meals every day, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
That
Right.
EBT
Right.
runs out, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we stealing now, you know what I mean? So it's
Right.
like
Right.
you kind of weigh this shit out and you like, I mean, this shit, is this really worth it? You know what I mean? So
That shit was. How did you learn how to cope with it?
I think really like what kind of helped me was when I started getting money, you feel me? Like they say money don't buy happiness, but I mean,
Shit.
that's just a bullshit lie for real. You know what I mean? When you can wake up and know you ain't got to worry about nothing, you know what I mean? Take care of mom, shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, you know, my mom ended up getting sober when I was like, probably like 20 years old. When I got out of juvenile hall on my 18th birthday, like 3 days out, you know what I mean? I was living with my mom and shit. And like, she couldn't handle that shit. So she actually tried to commit suicide. And I kicked the door down and like saved her basically, you know what I mean? Like, so, like seeing that shit, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, well, like, you know what I mean? This ain't an option, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I can't put this stress on my mama and shit. So it was just like, fuck it, we gonna get some money, you know what I mean? And
Right.
after that, you know what I mean? Like, for sure, you still get these sad thoughts and shit like that, but like, you know what I mean? When you're able to do whatever the fuck you want, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we gonna get through this, you know what I mean? It's just temporary, you feel me? So,
Right. Just another mountain and the
yeah,
hurdle a nigga
exactly.
got to get across.
Just get over that
So,
motherfucker.
let me drop it in low real quick. White privilege.
Mm.
Have you ever dealt with that? Like,
Like, have I ever been privileged? Cause
yes.
I don't even want to sound retarded right now, but nah, bro. I was always the one that was going to jail in my friend group. I was always the one like the police knew who the fuck I was. You know what I mean?
So,
Like,
do you think that's a stereotype?
I think it definitely exists for sure, but I think it exists in different communities. You know what I mean? Like when, like,
Say that.
you know what I mean? Like when everybody all around, like you ain't, and everybody going through the same shit. It's like, all right, well, it ain't no privilege here. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know what I mean? I got everything handed to me or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's farthest thing from it. You know what I mean? I didn't have a house growing up. I didn't have none of that shit. So it's like when motherfuckers talk about, oh, you know, you were born into privilege and shit. I don't really think it applies to me that much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because, like I said, you know what I mean? I was always the little shithead running around. You know what I mean? And
Right.
probably brought a lot of it on myself. You know what I mean? I could have got a job. I could have done hella shit. But
Definitely.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I wanted to just do what I was doing and whatever I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I didn't give a fuck about the consequences then. So, I mean, that shit, you know, it was all over the news like a couple years ago and shit. And I was watching it from prison and shit. Like, you know, I got 6 years for a gun case. I was watching hella people get 3 years. You know what I mean? 2 years, shit
Hella
like
mad,
that.
huh?
So, I mean, I wasn't mad because I was going up against a lot more. Like at the start of the case, you feel me? So it's like when I got six years, I took it smiling. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Do you have any children?
Nah, I ain't got no kids.
What type of bitches you fuck with, man?
Man, anything that's, you know what I mean? Anything that's really, you feel me, fits that criteria. You know what I mean? I don't like. I just got out of a relationship. You know what I mean? And you know, we ended up on good terms and shit like that. I don't got nothing but love for any of the female that I ever been with. You know what I mean? But I really, you know what I mean? Nowadays, I look at it and I used to try to go after the baddest bitches in the world and shit like that and try to shoot my shot at, you know, people that was probably out my league and shit. But, you know, nowadays it ain't nothing but simple shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I want a bitch that's going to check up on me. You know what I mean? Like we was talking about, like, you know, mental health wise and shit like that. It's like, I want a bitch that's going to, you know, call me and be like, what's up, you good? You know what I mean? I know you out there running around doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like, you safe. You know what I mean? Like, you hungry, come over, this and that. You know what I mean? I don't need the IG model with 10,000, you know what I mean? I don't want that, you know what I mean?
Right,
So,
definitely.
especially being a rapper, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be the star, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I need a good backup singer or something, you know what I mean?
Bitch, I'm the catch, bitch.
You feel me? You know what I mean? Gotta have that value to yourself, you feel
I
me?
definitely agree. I definitely agree. What's new? You working on any projects? Like, what's the tweak?
Yeah, man, I got some shit coming called preliminary hearing. And really, you know what I mean? I just mixed the shit talking shit with like I just did a like a singing type song, you know what I mean? And like I never really fucked around with it like
What
that.
you auto tune?
I love the auto tune, yeah, you know
Okay,
what I
let me
mean?
know
But,
something.
yeah, so like I just kind of trying to, you feel me, like kind of extend my vision on like what I think is possible for myself, you know what I mean? Like I done seen like the impossible become possible, so it's like, you know what I mean? I hear some shit and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna fucking try it. I'm gonna try that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go towards that lane, you know what I mean? So I really don't try to limit myself too much and, you know what I mean, just try whatever. If I don't like it, I ain't got to put it. I got like 80 songs in the vault right now, bro.
Right, yeah.
Probably half of them never see daylight, you know what I mean? So,
right.
But
when you was in jail, did you ever get like approached by any gangs and shit? Like motherfuckers trying to get you to join their movement? Oh, you only got one left.
You know, like the yard I was on, you know what I mean? I was a white boy, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, the yard I was on was like, for the whites, was like an independent yard, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like the gang members didn't really have no say over our politics and shit. And coming from the Bay, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't really kick it with too much white people on the street, so it's like, you know what I mean? I just kind of was myself, and that probably brought a lot of shit on, you know what I mean? Like catching fair ones in the cell and shit like that, just for,
Right.
you know what I mean? Motherfuckers thinking I ain't acting right and shit like that, but you know, you bang it out a couple times and then motherfuckers gonna be like, all right, well, that's just who he is, and you know what I mean? We just gonna have to live with it, because if not, it's gonna be a problem every time you approach me about it. So,
Right.
you know, the cell was always open, you know what I mean? So it was for sure fucking, you know, a little kind of a wake up call, because that's, I mean, we was talking about racism earlier. That's for sure where you experience it the most, you know what I mean? But it's like, even with that, it's like a lot of respect that still goes in the way, you know what I mean? That's how shit is in there. But, you know, seeing it and just being like, damn, I'm glad I ain't got that hate in my heart, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Definitely. I
So
agree.
it's for sure, you know what I mean? Like, I was just cool with everybody, bro. You know what I mean?
For
I
sure.
like tried to be, you know what I mean? Some people just hate just to hate, you know what I mean? So
Um, if you can go back in time right now and tell the 18-year-old you something, what would you tell them?
pick one, music of the streets, you know what I mean? You
Mm,
know, don't put one leg in the door and one leg outside, you know what I mean?
mm,
If you gonna run around, I mean, thugging, doing what the fuck you want to do that, you know what I mean? And enjoy every day. But if you gonna try to do the music shit, you know what I mean? Like, I wish I didn't even have to go through the shit I had to go through to do the music. I mean, nowadays, you know what I mean? Music is, you know, so watered down with like people that just lie, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I could have just done that for real, you know what I
right.
mean? Like, and stayed away from the bullshit, never had to go into prison, catch all the cases and shit, and trying to live up to. I think I'll try to put out like an image for real, like when I was
Right.
younger,
Yeah.
and trying to
We all
live
done
up
did
to
it.
it. You
Yeah.
know what I
We
mean?
all done
Like,
did it. We
you
all
know,
done did it.
that shit is that shit's poison, bro. You
Definitely.
know what I mean?
Definitely. Well, bro, I really appreciate you pulling up and you know, just letting me pick your brain and
Yeah,
like I said, you working, you know, by popular demand, a lot of people wanted to see you up here. I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if you went to go pay for box and have no
Nah,
box.
hell no.
You
That shit
know what I'm
all
saying?
organic, man.
Yeah, man,
That's just all
definitely.
love, man. I got a cool little community. You know what I mean? I invest in like this little crypto called Saitama and Saita Pro, and like, you know what I mean? I post some shit and they'll all bounce in. You know what I mean? Or
That's
you know, even the people that I grew up with. You know, the people that really seen me at my worst. You know what I mean?
right. That's proud of you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Trying to do something, like even just being able to work with the people that they look up to, and you know, like it kind of gives them, like you said, belief. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
that's
right,
like, you know, I can't be nothing but grateful for that shit. You know what I mean? So,
right. Where can we find you at?
shit, I'm on YouTube. My Instagram name kind of weird. Like, you know what I mean? I put the V's instead of A's for Max
Spell it.
Mason. ATMVXMVSON. I'm on, you know, YouTube, Apple Music and shit. I mean, I'm under Empire and shit, and my cousin is Gold Toes and shit. So,
Okay,
you
shout
know
out
what I
Go
mean? Like,
Toes.
he definitely, you know what I mean? He definitely you know what I mean, showing the ropes for me and shit. So he definitely helped me out and got me on every platform. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my
Right,
shit in the feds though, for real. You know what I mean? Because I remember downloading my MP3 shit and my shit was booming. You know what I mean? Like, so
right.
even hearing Bay Area rappers on there, like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, my people fuck with him. You know what I mean? So
Right.
definitely, you know, trying to expand a little bit more and trying to get it going. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I've been on, you know, Thizzler and Daily Slap and, you know, shit like that. So
NorCal next up.
NorCal next up, big shout out to him for real.
Yes, sir.
He really been pushing for me for real.
Yes, sir. Salute.
So
So, like I said, I appreciate you pulling up.
I appreciate you having me
My
for real.
platform is yours. Whenever you need to do a rollout, hit me up. Let's get in that work.
Hell yeah,
Yes,
hell
sir.
yeah.
Little
Appreciate
Blood
that.
TV.
Yeah.